Web Vision Italy proudly presents Chef Ricky from the Ligurian area of Italy, northwest portion along the Ligurian Sea, from Genoa down to Portofino, etc. We're going to prepare veal spezzatino. Con piselli e patate. Veal, cut into small pieces with peas and potatoes. It's the potatoes that make it Ligurian.
You got a special treat. Well, the main base of this dish is veal. In Italy, veal is commonly used in a lot of its dishes for its flavor, its tenderness, and its availability. What did you choose for this dish when you went to the market?
This is cubed veal.
Cubed veal.
Cubed veal.
Everyone take a look at this cubed veal. Now, it's very important when you get cubed veal at the market, cubed. That against the grain.
Oh, always against the grain.
Now, against the grain, do you know why, Ron?
I have no idea.
We cut against the grain to make it tender. Because by cutting against the grain, when we cook it, it's more tender. We broke down the tendons in the meat. So this is actually going to be very tender when we're done making our stew today. Excellent. This is lovely veal, lovely veal. Vitello. Now, the veal you want really kind of cut into about 1-inch pieces. So these 1-inch cubes, again, across the grain. If you this, we're cutting across the grain. So you can see that the grain's running this way and we cut across it so that when it cooks it becomes tender.
When you say you mean the muscle?
The muscle of the meat, the grain of the meat. Okay, we got about 2 pounds here of nice young corn-fed veal. Okay, let's come to the stove. We're going to show you what we're going to do first with this dish. We're going to saute the veal. We're going to take about 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. With our veal, I'm going to add a stock pot. So come join me back here at the stove.
Let's do it.
Okay, now we're going to add the veal. It's very important that we got our pan hot and our hot. You feel that? Is it hot?
Hot. It's hot.
Okay, I'm going to gradually add this without splattering.
The cubes.
The cubes. You can hear that. Now what we're going to do, and I'm going to just gently toss this around. We're going to brown it. We want to caramelize the outside to seal in the and bring out some of the sweetness in the veal. See how quickly that's starting to turn some color? Now while we let this brown, we're going to go back to the kitchen and we're going to prepare the next ingredients we're going to add to our stew.
Exacto.
All right, let's just give this one more toss. Now what we're going to do here is coarsely chop some onions that we're going to add to our stew. So we're going to take our clove of garlic, and what we did is tapped it, smashed it, took off the skin. Okay? Some people like to roll it, take off the skin, but we peeled it. Okay? Then, using the flat of our knife, just going to smash it a little bit.
Give it a little
smash. Makes it easy to chop. We're going to just coarsely chop it like that. Again, you want to smash it.
El smash.
See that? Watch that. Just be careful of your fingers. Okay. We got our garlic coarsely chopped right here. We got our onion. Okay, we're going to take a fresh bay leaf.
Bay leaf.
Bay leaf. This is some fresh bay leaf you can get at the grocery store. We're going to take 2 of these. You like bay leaf?
I'm not sure.
We'll just put 2 for now.
2.
Yeah, because it's fresh.
Do you eat that or do you take it out of the dish?
We're going to actually just add it in to add flavor to the dish. And then when you serve it, if you serve it, which some families do, you just kind of take it, get it in your dish. It's considered good luck if you get the bay leaf in your serving.
But you don't eat it.
But you don't eat it normally. Okay? But it is considered good luck in Italy. Okay, so we got our extra chopped little extra onion right here.
Excellent.
I've got our garlic right here, if you carry that over. And we're going to go add this to our stock. Go ahead and add that onion in there. Okay. Now, we're going to also, to kind of push that along, to kind of cook it a little, all that in there now, we're going to add about half of the beef stock that this recipe calls for. This recipe calls for about 2 or 3 cups of beef stock. So we're going to add about 1.5 cups of stock. So if you go ahead and pour a little of that beef stock in there. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of cook that all together to reduce it. And then we're going to add in some of the other ingredients and just bring it down to a good base stew. I'm going to add a pinch of salt right here too. I find when you add a pinch of salt at this point, you kind of help to draw the liquids and bring the flavors all together in the dish. So if you bring our beef stock back, Okay, Ron, while that's kind of cooking all together, we're going to add the beef stock, which is going to incorporate all the flavors. It's going to give us a liquid to start kind of bringing all the flavors together. So why don't you go ahead and add that beef stock in there.
So uniting everything.
It's uniting everything. We're forming the base of the stew. Okay? So we're going to mix that up. What we're going to do here is we're going to cook it down, reduce it maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, until our onions become translucent. What we did is we've peeled and diced our potatoes to about half-inch chunks. Okay? We par-cooked these because we're going to add them in the second stage of the process.
Par-cooked, you partially cooked them?
We partially cooked them. We boiled them for about 15 minutes. We cubed them with a little salt and a little water, and it softened them. It made them kind of cooked halfway. Okay? Now, if you like a stew thick, if you add a roux, you like it creamy, like a gravy, you know, kind of thicker, like a heartier stew, right?
Like a hearty American stew.
Like a hearty American stew, okay? You may choose to add your potatoes now while the stock is kind of simmering and cooking, because what that's going to do is bring the starch out of the stock while it cooks. It's going to tend to thicken the stew. Or you could add roux, a traditional roux mix, flour and butter. We put it in there, we thicken it up a little bit, and it kind of give it some more consistency. But since we want to make this more of an Italian traditional stew, we're going to stay with the consistency that the crushed tomatoes have and that the potatoes and the beef stock are going to add to us.
A little lighter.
A little lighter. It's going to be kind of a broth stew. Yeah. Now, we have a pomodoro. Is that how I say it?
Pomodoro.
Pomodoro. You got that? Pomodoro. That's our tomato. Now, we've got crushed tomato. Okay, if you get us that cup there, we're going to add about maybe 14 ounces or roughly 2 cups of our lovely pomodoro tomatoes. Did I say it right?
Pomodoro, right.
Pomodoro. See, I'm learning. You know, this show not only teaches you about great food, it teaches you how to speak
language.
Italian. Yeah, it teaches you language. It's kind of multifaceted.
All right.
Okay.
Very Renaissance.
We've got our tomatoes. We've got our potatoes. Okay. Now, also, if you set that aside right now, we're going to also add some more herbs to this dish at this point in time. Well, that's reducing.
Herbs are very important.
Herbs are very important. Now, here's another herb. It's very common in a lot of international dishes, and it's parsley, fresh parsley. So we're going to roughly chop this coarse. Just kind of want to, in a stew, when we make these hearty stews, you don't want anything chopped up too fine. You want to kind of keep it coarse so it's got a little, but when you're eating it, you know, bite. Now, we're going to take another bunch of this fresh basil. We got this at the market as well today.
You got it at the market. Looks like it came from your garden.
So we're going to coarse Veal Spezzatino. Spezzatino also has some mushrooms, okay? We've got beautiful, fresh organic mushrooms that we found at the market today. Organic. So we got about maybe a half a cup of these lovely mushrooms right here. From an Italian, fungi?
Fungi.
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 Fungi, a little mushroom. Fungi.
They love fungi in Italy.
Okay, Ron, now that we're finished cutting our lovely mushrooms. The next step in this recipe for the veal spezzatino is to add wine and the tomatoes. So I'm going to add the wine right here. Boy, that wine's going to add some great flavor.
And now we
add the crushed pomodoros.
Pomodoro.
This now is going to cook together. Now, Ronnie, about here, we're going to add the rest of our beef stock. And this is where it cooks for 2 hours. And in the time it cooks, it breaks down the tendons. It tenderizes the veal, so it's very soft when we eat it.
Well, we've been waiting close to 2 hours, Chef Ricky. What do you think?
Well, we've been enjoying this lovely wine.
Wine from Liguria?
Liguria wine.
Very nice.
Very nice. So this is a good time to add our peas and potatoes and the ingredients. Now that we've stewed the veal spezzatino for 2 hours, come join us back at the stove.
Let's do it.
We're going to add those here. We're going to add some of the peas right into our stew. Now we want to add it in the end so that it doesn't become too soft and too mushy. Put those over there. We'll add the potatoes.
So we're at the final stages.
At the final stages. We're going to add the mushrooms. Hey, you stir that while I pour the mushrooms in. Look at those. Aren't those beautiful mushrooms? Look at those mushrooms.
Funghi.
Funghi. Get all those fungi in there. Now we're going to add the fresh basil and the fresh parsley. Fresh parsley. Smell that basil. Oh, if you could come through the camera and smell
this. If you could put that in a bottle.
Garden fresh.
Just kind of turn it over.
I'm going to kind of turn it over a little bit like that. And then we're going to let that stew for about another 30 minutes, 30 minutes. Well, Ron, been about 25 minutes. Let's go back and see how our veal spezzatino is doing.
It's about time.
It's about time. Let's go. You pick that up. Bring it over to our table. Oh, does that smell good?
It's doing well, Ricky.
Don't spill it. Very valuable. Look at that. Now I'm just going to pick that up a bit so that they can see that. You see that? Look at that veal spezzatino, huh? Oh my God, that's beautiful. Okay, Ron, now we've got this lovely dish. This vitello spezzatino con potato piselli
e patate.
Patate. Beautiful, beautiful. Take a look at this.
This is a great dish if our viewers have in Liguria at a time of year where you're looking for a hearty dish.
Hearty. This is hearty.
Get a vitello spezzatino, veal cut into small cubes, con piselli with peas, e patate with potatoes.
Potatoes. Can you see the potatoes?
Very hearty, very delicious, very Ligurian.
This is, the smell is just incredible. Now, you know, I know you like a nice Italian bread, so I've got a nice wedge right here. I'm gonna cut you a nice wedge of Italian bread to go with that.
Excellent.
Look at that.
Excellent.
I'm gonna, if you give us a spoon, we gotta taste this right here. A good chef always tastes his food. You know, do you like a little ground pepper on yours?
You know I do.
A little fresh ground pepper right here. The lady, a little fresh ground pepper.
Very Italian.
Very Italian. You can also, just if you like a little extra virgin olive oil on the top.
Oh, I would say.
Just give us a little drizzle. In the shape of a C normally, is that good luck?
Italians like the seas.
The seas. Why the seas, Ronnie? Why the seas?
Well, it's a maritime country.
It's a country,
so
okay.
they like the seas.
The seas. Oh,
Just
look at that. Now, you know, this dish, as you is hearty without thickening it. And this is kind of how we like to enjoy it. It's like the tomato broth.
It's a very light broth.
A light broth. But it really allows the ingredients, chunky vegetables and that beautiful tender veal that we've got in there and those tomatoes. Look how that just incorporated into that broth. Taste that broth.
So you're bringing out the best of the produce.
The best of the produce. Let me taste that. Look at that. Can you taste that? Look at that veal and those mushrooms. You see those mushrooms and the peas at the end of the cooking process? They didn't get too mushy and soft. They're a little al dente. You know, the Italians like their al dente stuff.
It's a very light dish.
It's light, but it's hearty. It's going to fill you up in the wintertime. You know,
excellent dish, chef.
La prima stella illumina il cammino